as my studio audience here can tell, that I'm a little bit different to most people. For those of you at home who think that there's a big hole in the lounge, you're not quite correct there, but I'll just enlighten you on the subject a little bit. I actually have no legs. I was born in the late 60s. I popped out, I was the size of a Coca-Cola can, not real big. The doctors informed my mum and dad I was going to die, that I wouldn't last a day. I was born with arms and have obviously worked very well over the last 33 years. However, my legs, they were all deformed, bit out of shape, never ever worked right from day one. The feeling that I had in my legs was that if I could see you were touching them, if I could see you were poking them, then I could feel it. But if I was concentrating on something else, like watching TV or reading the newspaper, then I couldn't feel it. Now, all of my family and friends knew this, and to me it wasn't something that I thought needed sharing with the world. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Now, look, what I have noticed myself from travelling around the globe on numerous occasions is that every single person has got a disability. Everyone has one. You can see mine, I'm an ugly bloke. Every single person has got you should see David's tie, that's really bad, it's a big disability. So, every single person's got one, but it doesn't matter if you might have asthma, you can't see asthma, you might have epilepsy, Crohn's disease, your kidneys or your liver might not work too well, nor might your heart, your eyes, your ears. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you don't have one. It doesn't have to be an out there in your face physical disability like mine. It can be any type of disability, and it is any type of disability. Now, when I was born, the doctors told my mum and dad I was going to die, that I wouldn't last the day. So it was left up to my dad to organise a funeral, and my mum, she wasn't real healthy after the birth, as you can imagine. She just gave birth to something that was a cross between Kermit the Frog and a monkey. So a real good looking little boy. And it was left up to my dad to organise a funeral. Now, I'm going to paint a picture of my father for you. And I want you all the studio audience, to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Just listen to my voice. Imagine the biggest, fattest, hairiest, smelliest Greek bloke you've ever seen in your life. Do you have that picture?
Yes.
Now times that by 100. That's my dad. He's huge, absolutely huge. And when he was told that actually I was going to die, he was going to bury me in a shoebox. That's how big I was. My coffin was going to be a shoebox. And as well, back in those days, in Australia, whether you were a boy or a girl, you got buried in a dress. Now the dress that my father has picked out for me has come straight out of Barbie's wardrobe. You know the doll Barbie? That's how big I was. Easily fit in the palm of your hand, not expected to last the day. I lasted the day. They said that he won't last a week. I lasted a week. They said he won't last a month. I lasted a month. They said he won't last a year. 33 years later, almost 34 years later, I'm now travelling all around the globe, doing what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. I love my life. I love what I stand up for, and I most certainly love what I believe in. And what do I believe in? I believe in me. Because I know that I can get the job done. Get it done, boom, get on to the next thing. See, I don't want to get to 80 years of age, be sitting in a retirement village somewhere, an old people's home, be thinking to myself, would my life been any different if I'd actually done what I wanted to do? The trick is to get up off your backside, get in, and have a go before it's too late. Now, they decided to take me home when I was 6 weeks old. Taking me home, what do I mean by that? Well, all the specialists gave my mum and dad two choices. They could either terminate me, or they could place me in an institution for the rest of my life. And when they were told the best they could hope for was to put me in an institution, my dad jumped up, stamped his foot on the ground, and said the only home he's going to is ours. And that's where they took me. Raised me with a lot of love, a lot of care, and a hell of a lot of discipline, because I was a mongrel of a kid. I was a bad boy when I was little, very bad. I set the cat on fire half a dozen times, and it wasn't even our cat, so I was pretty lucky. But schooling for me didn't start until 5th class. I was about 10 years old. Before that, I was fortunate enough to go to one of these institutions where I had my very first best friend, and his name's Kenny. And David, do you have a best friend? Yes, you do?
I do.
And what's their name?
John?
John. What a good name. Right, now isn't it good when you have best friends that you can share things with them and get them off your chest? Desiree, you have a best friend, love? Yes? It's good that you can share things with them, isn't it? You don't have to keep them bottled up inside you. Well, my best friend, his name was Kenny. And Kenny has cerebral palsy. You guys know what cerebral palsy is? For those of you who don't, cerebral palsy is a terrible disability that affects your nervous system and your muscles. So intellectually, up here, you are fantastic. But you're trapped inside a prison, which is your body. Now, you have your disabilities on 3 different categories. You have them the real bad, the bad, then the not so bad. And Kenny had his between the real bad and the bad, so about 90%. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he couldn't go to the bathroom by himself, he couldn't even feed himself. Now the only way that my best mate could get around was if he had one of those special electric wheelchairs with a chin control. Have you seen them? The control would come up here like this. If you wanted to go left, you'd have to push it left. Go right, you'd have to push it right. Every time he sneezed, he blew himself into a brick wall. And sparks and stuff would fly off everywhere. The only way that Kenny could communicate with you, if you asked him a question, it was 1 blink for yes or 3 for no. If he wanted to speak with you about something, he had a paper keyboard on his tray. A piece of paper with the alphabet on it. Like the pieces of paper you might be holding right now. And a stick in his mouth. And he would have to sit there and point to every single letter and spell out every word. He was really bad at telling long jokes. They went forever and ever and ever. And if you didn't laugh at the end, the mongrel used to run you over in his wheelchair. So you had to make sure you had a bit of a chuckle. Now, when I was told I'd been integrated into formal education, normal education, for the first time in my life, I was scared. I was absolutely scared. Amy, do you remember the first time you were scared? Yeah? Yeah, what were you scared of?
Scared of going to a new environment.
Scared of going to a new environment? That's very similar to what I was scared of. Being, in other words, taken out of your comfort zone, yes, out of the little box you live in, and put into a whole new environment where there's no security, no one to protect you, absolutely nothing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good for everybody to get out of their comfort zone all the time. You push yourself, not only with this up here, but also this in here. Now, I was taken out of this institution, and in fact, first of all, Mum and Dad, they took me to the shops, new school uniforms and books and bags, and with about 2 days to go, I decided, my Mum and Dad, they bought me this really big backpack, huge backpack, and I was a little boy. And I can remember taking this backpack, I filled it up with some things to give to Kenny, my best mate, because I never ever thought that I would see him again. So I filled it up, I had a ball on a string, I had some stickers for his wheelchair, some sporting magazines. Now, Kenny could read very well, just like you and I could read extremely well, but he actually had to drive his wheelchair around to find somebody that could and would turn the page in his book. How lucky are we today to be able to do the simple things that we do? How much do we take for granted every single day? I'm unloading everything out of my backpack, and I had this idea in my head. You know, when little boys get good ideas, they get up to a lot of mischief. They're either going to go and burn something down or get really, really dirty. Well, this particular day I had this really good idea, and I tipped everything out of my backpack. And I reached up and I undid Kenny's seatbelt, and I lifted him out of his wheelchair. Now, in all the years we spent together, that would have been the first time I've ever seen him out of his wheelchair. Then I tried to shove him into my backpack. I tried to shove him, place him into my backpack, because I didn't want to leave him behind in this place. This place was the most horrible place in the world. And only 12 months ago there was one in Sydney, Australia that was closed down. It was closed down because in the last 2 years 8 children died. And I would love to say that it was from their disability, because to me that would be natural causes. But the truth, it was lack of care, malnutrition, poor hygiene. There was a little boy in this institution who was 12 years old when he died, and it was written in his report he was bathed once a month for 12 years. Imagine that. Imagine you guys at home or in the office tuning into this webcam now. Imagine the state of your skin, your hair, your mouth. My skin's crawling now just talking about it. Most of us, you and I, we would have 150 baths or showers in 5 months. 5 months, not 12 years. Thank heavens this little boy died. He's not suffering anymore. This institution that I went to with my best mate, there were kids in there, never ever knew how to use a toilet. They would go to the bathroom in a corner of a room somewhere. It was a really bad smell. There were people in there that had really bad disabilities, that bad that they lied in bed their whole life. No one ever took them outside. They never had the sunlight on their face or the rain fall on their body. Let me ask you, when was the last time that you took a walk in the rain? When was the last time that you left your comfort zone, your house or your office, and walked in the rain? It is one of the most pleasurable, simple things that you can do. It's magic. Next time it rains, go for a walk in it. Don't send me the dry cleaning. Bad luck. Go for a walk in the rain. You will love it. They had, in this place, they had cockroaches as big as your fist. They had rats the size of Shetland ponies. You know what these rats used to eat? These rats used to eat the feet and the toes of these kids that lied in bed. That's what they used to eat. Imagine me walking past that door and seeing these kids every couple of days and not being able to do a thing about it until now. You know what these people who used to run this place, you know what they used to say to me? If you tell anybody, we are going to come and kill your parents and then the rest of your family. If you say that to an 8-year-old, he's going to be frightened for the rest of his life. So here I was, dragging this backpack up the cold, lifeless, lonely, loveless corridors of this institution. Here's my best mate Kenny, inside, with one arm sticking out the side of the bag. He was. I couldn't get him all in, so he had one arm sticking out the side. Here I was. Here's Kenny, screaming away. I make it out to the footpath, and I'm dragging it down the concrete. Here I am. Here's Kenny. Then all of a sudden, from nowhere, there was this voice. Hey, John! She was a woman, by the way. Nice deep voice. Let me tell you about this woman. She had a huge growth on her nose. She might be like that really bad auntie you don't want to know. You know, she had a huge growth on her nose. She had hair growing out of her ears. She was that fat. She had skin overlapping her socks. That's a pretty picture for you now, isn't it? Hey, you know that's not how you carry your back. What the hell is that? Kenneth, is that you? He had a good laugh. I've never ever heard him laugh like that before. This lady has bent down to pick up the bag. I've dragged the bag along the concrete. I've worn a hole in the bag. Kenny has fallen straight out of that hole. I have dragged Kenny along the concrete. I've worn a hole in his forearm, shoulder, chest, chin. Now that may not mean a lot to most of you or you at home, but because of me not taking responsibility for myself and my actions, this little boy now, for 2 weeks, had to get somebody to push him everywhere he wanted to go. And remember, in this place, nobody cared. So he was either locked in a room or sat in a corner for 2 weeks. I went home that afternoon. My dad found out what happened, so he made sure by the time he'd finished with me that I was missing a bit of skin off my body. Because my dad believes, which is now my #1 golden rule of life, is that you treat people the way you wish to be treated. Pretty simple. I'm pretty sure you understand what that means, yes?
Yes.
You at home, I hope you do too, or in the office. You might be having problems with your work colleagues, you know, or maybe your staff, or whoever it is, your family. You treat people the way you wish to be treated. And everybody wants to be treated with respect. Everybody does. However, most people think you buy respect in the local supermarket. You don't buy it, you earn it. From there, I ventured on into formal education, primary school. Good old primary school. Now, if you ask kids today, you know, what is their primary school like, and a couple of them might say, oh, you know, I'm being bullied, or I'm being called names. And Amy, do you have kids in primary school? You don't have kids? Oh, sorry, love. What about you, David? You got kids?
Big kids.
Big kids. You got grandkids?
Grandchildren.
How old are they?
5 grandsons.
Fuck, he's not in primary school then either. I'm not having much luck here, am I? Desiree, do you have children? No, you're only a child yourself. Lena?
Yes, I have a 5-month-old granddaughter.
Do you really? Aren't they beautiful at 5 months old?
Oh, yes.
Does any of you have children in primary school? You do, John. What a good name. Do me a favour, John. Take off your tie. We don't want ties on in here. Relax.
Yeah.
Take it. The man behind the camera, get that tie on. Relax. I'm on the couch now. It's good. Take it easy. Anyone else? Take your tie off. Take your tie off. That's better. See? Relax. How old are your children, John?
10?
He's 10.
Yeah.
And he locally goes to school?
Yeah.
Yep. And does he come home and tell you that he's ever been bullied or been called names? Or does he come home and say, hey Dad, we bashed up this boy today? He's not a bad boy?
I'm sure he has encountered some problem.
Yeah, I mean, every kids do.
Yeah.
Every kids do. But I'm also a big believer, John, that there is no such thing as bad children. It's bad parenting. Well, I don't have kids, Maybe one day, God bless my soul, I might. And it's good fun practicing, but don't get me any but I was a kid once, and I've got the best parents in the world, so I can tell you now, I've been blessed with the best parents in the world, and I honestly do believe one of my favourite movies of all time is called Boys Town. It's an old black and white movie with Spencer Tracy and Mickey Rooney as a little boy. And Father Flanagan, which is Spencer Tracy, his number one line in the movie, there's no such thing as a bad boy. And to me, there's no such thing as bad children. I do believe it is bad parenting. So I'm tipping that your son has pretty good parents. And you're pretty understanding, yes, to his needs. Am I right? Try to be? Yes? Is he understanding to your needs?
Yeah.
No! Get to the room! Is that right? Now, I hope that your children today are having a little bit more fun than what I did in primary school. I had a little bit of fun, but I guess because of my disability and me being different to all the other kids in the school. See, my first week in primary school, I was 10 years old, and I was chased around the schoolyard by half a dozen bullies. And they caught me, and they tied me up with rope. They put tape over my mouth. They picked me up, and then they threw me in a rubbish bin. However, what they did next was set the bin on fire. If it wasn't for a teacher doing playground duty, I wouldn't be here today speaking with you in this room, speaking to you at home or in your office. I wouldn't be here doing that. Here I was stuck inside this bin. The smoke was bad. The heat. Gets pretty hot here, John, doesn't it? In the summer? Even in the winter it gets hot. The humidity's pretty high. You want to know what hot is? If you're at home, or when you go home, turn the oven on 300. Wait half an hour, then stick your head in there. David, don't really do that, mate. All right? I'm only joking. Don't do that at home. Don't do what Uncle John says. No. Now, smoke was bad, the heat was intense. The sound, 23 years later, I lie down to go to sleep. And I'm still having nightmares of those flames roaring through that bin, incinerating everything in its path. Food scraps, paper, then me. All of a sudden the lid lifted up. One female teacher saw what was going on. She reached in over the flames, pulled me out of the bin. Her dress caught on fire. She put herself out, untied the rope, removed the tape, and by the time she'd done that, that bin had burned to the ground. I was the luckiest boy alive that day. From there, they kept a close eye on me in primary school. Then I ventured on into high school. There were 1,700 students when I started high school. That's 3,400 legs, 3,400 legs, and one pair of arms sharing the pavement. I had to learn to look out for me, I had to learn to watch out for them, but it wasn't all that bad, because this is where I also learned to look up all the girls' dresses. You liked that one, David, didn't you? No wonder your shoes are very shiny. Anyway, don't go there. Now we had this class, sorry guys, we had this class one day. We had this relief teacher come in, and she didn't know what to teach us. So she came in and shut the door, turned out the lights and pulled down the blinds, and made us sit there and watch her riveting slides of her holiday in New Zealand. Whoa! There's a lot of sheep in New Zealand. Halfway through the lesson, I was busting to go to the bathroom. You know when you get that pain in the stomach, girls? You know what I'm talking about? You have to go, Desiree, you know what I mean? So, it's okay for you guys, though. I mean, You guys can cross your legs and wait another 3 days, you know. I'm a bit unlucky. I mean, look, what am I going to cross, you know? Maybe cross my eyes and, you know, so this particular day I was busting, no one could see me. So I put my hand up. Teacher didn't see me. So I did what I thought was the right thing to do. I stepped down off the chair and walked outside. I got outside, I closed the door, I sat down, and I looked at my hands. 3, 4, 5 thumbtacks in that one, 6, 7, 8 or so in that one. These so-called bullies of my class, in the dark, had thrown all pins and thumbtacks under and around my chair. Why didn't I stop? And be humiliated in front of everybody? Be the laughing stock of the class, and then most certainly the school? See, that's how it happens. That's very much how it happens. I went up to sick bay. They patched me up the best they could. I went home. Straight into my bedroom. I closed the door. Sat in front of my mirror and cried my eyes out. I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle my life, my brothers, my sister, even my grandmother, my nana was copping it. All because mum and dad wanted to raise me like any normal child. That's all. And it wasn't happening. A short time later, my little brother, Luke, comes into the room. And I hated Luke seeing me upset, you know. We're like very close, you know, especially growing up. I was like Merlin the magician, and he was my faithful assistant, you know. It should have been the other way around. I reckon he should have been the magician, and I should have been his assistant. He could have put me in the box, sawed me in half, and he would have even known the difference, wouldn't you? So when he came into my room, and I was crying my eyes out, I didn't want him to see that. So I put my head down. I tried and dry my tears as much as I could. I look up and I catch his reflection in the mirror. And I start all over again. I can't handle it anymore, Luke. Thanks for being my brother, my best mate. I love you a lot. I'm going to kill myself tonight. He didn't say a word. He got up, made his way to the door, and as he approached the door, I said, Luke, I just told you I was going to kill myself. You don't say anything. You get up and leave. He turned around and looked at me and said, well, if you're going to kill yourself, I want to help. He said, I'm going to go and get you the gun. And I went, holy crap. Do you know what he made me realise? He made me realise that I wasn't dead. How dare I complain that I have a few thumbtacks in my hands when he's my best mate Kenny, who can't even get out of his wheelchair. How dare I complain I have a few thumbtacks in my hands when he's my best mate Kenny, who can't even feed himself. How dare I complain I have a few thumbtacks in my hands when he's my best mate Kenny, who can't even say hello. I don't hate people that complain, but maybe we need to look at what we're complaining about. Let me ask you, studio audience, and if you're at home or in the office or wherever you are, in a friend's place, have a go at this too. Ask yourself, and for the studio audience, put your hand up for me, if you have ever complained about your hair on your head, this stuff right here. Put your hand up if you've ever complained about it. Too long, too short. Come on, put your hands up. Most of you, do me a favour. Next time you want to complain about your hair, go on over to one of the local hospitals, into the oncology ward, which is cancer. I was diagnosed with cancer 3.5 years ago. You go in there and complain to those people who don't have an ounce of hair on their body. You go and tell them that your hair's not right. And if you can walk away with a smile on your face, then you're a bigger person than I'll ever be. Let me ask you one more question, and at home or in the office as well. Please, how many of you have complained about your shoes? Come on, put your hands up if you've ever complained about your shoes. Too big, too small, oh, they give me blisters. Yes? A lot of you. You want to swap? There's mine. Right there. You want to swap? What about you? Do you want to swap? Let me know when you're ready. And I will swap you any day. Any day. I'd love to ride a push bike. Or kick a soccer ball. Maybe ride a motorbike. Go dancing. Rose, I'd love to go dancing with you, love. You want to swap, let me know. I'll swap you today. My little brother left. My beautiful mother comes into the room. My loving mother. Sits down on my bed. I climb up there with her. And mums, and only mums can do this. You know the special hugs you get from mums? You know the ones where mums wrap their arms around you and pull you so close. You can feel their heartbeat on your face. I can feel my mum's hand. You can hear it. It's so special. My mum's crying and her tears fall onto my cheeks. She squeezed me closer and she says, John, you are the most beautiful thing that has ever happened in our lives. Now straight away, I only hope that she shared those words with my brothers and my sister. Because to me, we're all the same. We're no different. You cut me, I bleed. Tell me a story and I'll cry. We breathe the same oxygen. We have the same colour blood. So David, you're a little bit taller than I am. But I'm a bit better looking. We are all the same. No different whatsoever. None whatsoever. All the same. She squeezes me a bit closer. I catch a few more tears. She gives me a kiss on the forehead. Then walks out of my room. My dad came home from work. Came straight into my room. And he roughed me up a little bit. My dad and I were fans of which used to be the WWF, you know the wrestling? WWF?
Yeah.
I always think I'm the Rock, you know, I'm the Rock. And he's just the fat bastard. No. He roughs me up, you know, throws me on the bed, leads with a couple of elbows and gets the anger out of my body. Then he wraps his arms around me. He squeezes me that tight and nearly squeezes me in half, which would have been great. It would have been a quarter of a person. Squeezes me close and says, promise me one thing, son. Promise me you'll never ever go down to their level. Let them try and step up to yours. And that is the first and last time anyone has ever put me on a pedestal. Ever in my life. I don't allow it, I don't like it. Because I'm the same as everybody else. From there, a few other minor things happened at school. You know, I got locked in cupboards and tied up and placed on fans and a few other bits and pieces. But I got out of school and I actually made the decision to go and have my legs amputated, to get them out of the way.